Also, a note here. Success never looks the way you had expected it to look. The day I got my doctoral degree in hand, I had not a single family member to cheer for me in the crowd. And the convocation speaker was a certain US president who was headed to be voted in for the second time. And minutes before conferring the title of Dr. Jha upon me, they conferred the honorary title of Dr. Bush upon him. I spent my shining moment with my fist clenched and my face red, wondering if he had ever spent a sleepless night struggling to write a paper that was due the next morning. And also, I wondered what measure of success it was that I was holding a doctoral degree in political communication in my hand, and all around me in that hall, people were raising slogans in support of war. So yes, success often doesn't look the way you had expected it to look. So yes, I have had a close and personal relationship with failure. But I don't use that word lightly. A dear friend of mine remarked recently about what she called the failure of my marriage. For some reason, that statement didn't ring true. I'm not afraid of the word failure, but somehow I didn't think it applied to my marriage. My marriage didn't fail, I said. So many wonderful relationships came out of it, and one wonderful child. The poet after whom I have named my child, Sahir, has said in Urdu, "Rishton ka roop badalta hai, bunyadein khatam nahi hoti," which is translated as, "The face of relationships will change, but the foundations don't fall." So my marriage didn't fail. It changed into what people would call a divorce. I would like to state here that this is not a critique of the institution of marriage, just in case the statement enters my records and I ever apply for a job at Marquette. So I have great respect for the word failure. And will not use it where it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply, for instance, to my body. I would be remiss if I didn't speak about the failure and success of my body, because it's where I live, it's what I place before you in the classroom, and it's where my thoughts and my intellectual life take shape. Those of you that know me well are aware that I have residual weakness from polio in one leg, and I have a fake ankle and implant in the other. The polio was caused by a defective vaccine when I was a baby in rural India, and the broken leg and ankle replacement was required after a serious car accident by a hit-and-run driver when I was in graduate school in America. So in a way, I carry the third world in my right leg and the first world in my left. Those of you that know me well also know that I like to get exercise. During this sabbatical year, I started going to Bikram Yoga. Most people in that Bikram Yoga class witness what they believe is my body failing me. Out of the 27 postures of Bikram Yoga, I cannot do a single one the way it's supposed to be done. No, not even Shavasana or the corpse pose. Beware, I will not make a good corpse. But again, I can't use the word failure there. My body isn't failing me, and I'm not failing at Bikram Yoga. In fact, given the extent and the depth of my struggle and my surrender to each posture, I believe that I'm actually receiving far more benefit than most people in that room. Not to mention what it's doing for everyone else in that room. Every other person there gets to feel stronger than me. Isn't that what success is? The benefits you receive and the benefits you pass around. Now, why did I choose this topic and this message as my last lecture? Because I'm concerned about how much success our society expects from us today. I don't want to be smart in the era of smartphones and smart cars and smart bombs. Now that's an oxymoron for you, smart bombs. It frightens me that being smart is increasingly a prescription for what you shouldn't do rather than what you should. One example of this is the statement, "Is it smart to do a journalism major today when so many newspapers are folding up?" No, it isn't smart. It's foolish. And that's why it must be done. Because some wonderful fool is going to go out there and give us all a new model of journalism, one that uses all the multimedia that are exploding around us, quiets it down, and harnesses it to tell strong stories, giving voice to people who don't always have one, using it to organize outrage within a generation that we accuse of being passive. For those of you that may not have seen this, this is our Seattle University students. A shout out to Alex Lacasse. Where is he? There you go. That set up the Facebook page to support Jody O'Brien. So they use it to organize outrage within a generation that we accuse of being passive, so that no one gets left behind when we all LOL. And if you don't know what that means, seriously, you need to find out. So before I conclude, I would like to read to you 2 short excerpts from my failed novel. Yes, you will have to listen to something that has been rejected, because these excerpts use fiction to get to the truth, like I said. These 3 excerpts I have chosen from the beginning, the beginning of the novel and the end of the novel. 2 excerpts, sorry. And they represent a journey from hope to failure to wisdom. In the first excerpt, the farmer couple, Bajirao and Gayatri Bai, are sitting by the river in their village, filled with some sense of hope. This piece is told from the point of view of the river. The river drew closer to the man and woman sitting on its northern bank, the spot where the river exhaled her coolest breath. The man was speaking softly, as if aware that given the way the wind was today, voices could carry over the water. Voices or smells, for his breath was heavy with alcohol. The river knew this man and woman. The man had grown up on this shore, and the woman had visited here as a girl. Her thin, dark legs had waded in, and the water had met her at the knee. Almost this one stood quite still until someone shouted out to her that it was time to leave. And then, a few years later, the child had returned as a bride to dwell here, married to this man from this shore. They had come here on their wedding day, strangers to each other, a boy and a girl throwing flowers and colors into the water on the instructions of a pandit chanting prayers. From then on, the woman came to the river every few years to pray with other women or to wash clothes. From the beginning to the end of each year, the river would help her clean 4 white cotton kurtas, 4 white dhotis, and 3 cotton saris, green, yellow, and pink. Every few months, there would be a white polyester shirt, brown pants, and a red silk sari. And these the woman would not beat with a stick like the women did with their cotton clothes. A few years after her wedding, the woman started to bring the clothes of a child, 2 frocks in each year. For some years, there had been a girl's school uniform, white blouse and blue tunic, and white ribbons. These gave way to 2 more saris, and the woman was joined at the wash by her grown daughter. The woman's hair had grayed quickly, especially around her face, which itself grew browner in the sun of 3 successive droughts. The river had helped this woman clean her family's hard work out of their clothes, readying the garments for more toil. The woman used very little soap. Sometimes the woman came here the way she had done as a child, to stand in the river, never deeper than her knees, always more still than the water itself. So today the river drew closer to listen. The man was drawing lines into the wet earth, and the river could feel this.